Alright, so today we're going to be looking at Dracaenas and how to fertilize them. I'm going to quickly go over exactly how to do it, as well as a little bit of the basics and the science behind fertilization so you understand what you're doing and what's going on. Alright, so we're going to start with some of the basics. If you hear some extra noises while I record this, it's my newborn. It's not me making funny noises. Okay, so number one, only fertilize healthy plants. This is because if you're trying to save a plant and give it fertilizer, it's only going to stress it out more and cause more problems. So remember, only be fertilizing those plants that are in good health. Spring is generally the best time to fertilize. Your plant is actively growing and putting out new growth with the extended sunshine hours. So it's generally the best time to do it. For Dracaenas, you should hopefully fertilize monthly from spring to fall if possible. That's the best option. Third, plants in shade have slower metabolism, so just keep that in mind that if your plant is sitting in a low light area, it's not going to need a whole lot of fertilizer. Fertilizer kind of acts as a vitamin for the plant. It's not necessarily always needed. If your plant is just growing very slowly, it can cause more problems. And lastly, remember that less is actually more. Definitely just always gear towards the conservative side when fertilizing. You're less likely to do any harm to your plant that way. Alright, so I'm using Schultz plant food. These three numbers here are the macronutrients that the fertilizer contains. It's a percentage of the active ingredients in the fertilizer is what those numbers are showing. And I'm going to kind of go over which each of them mean. They represent nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, NPK. So nitrogen is a major component of chlorophyll. It basically controls the greenness of a plant, how the plant absorbs energy. And phosphorus helps roots, buds, and flowers. Dracaenas aren't a flowering plant, so phosphorus isn't such a big deal for it, but it's still vital for the plant in cell division and tissue production. And lastly, that last number, potassium, that helps with overall plant vigor, and regulating the stomatas, which are like the pores of the plant, how they breathe. Okay, so right now, I just woke up my baby, darn it. I'm washing the bucket just so that I'm not adding anything that I don't want added to my plant and to my fertilizer. Just starting with a clean work surface does wonders. And so I am doing 4 cups of water, and your fertilizer will specify, usually on its box, of how much you should be adding for how much water you're using. For this one, it's just a little dropper that I'll show you in a second that I'll be adding to this water. So like I said earlier, always lean towards a conservative side when fertilizing your plants. So for Dracaenas, I do recommend a 10-10-10 fertilizer. I know mine's a 10-15-10. This is the closest one I could find on Amazon. So I'm just going to be conservative while adding these drops. I don't remember how many it called for. I guess we'll find out as we watch myself drop them in. But I have a rather large bucket because I'm fertilizing a few of my plants. This isn't all just for my Dracaenas. Alright, so I'm starting here with my Dracaena marginata. I'm just making sure I get it in the camera first. But I'm making sure that I'm thoroughly soaking the soil on both sides, and you want to see some water drip out just so you know that it's gone through the entirety of the soil. And I'll show that in a second. Right here, second has passed. So if there's water coming out, that's totally fine. You can dump it back in and kind of let it drain through again into your sink, just making sure that that soil is thoroughly soaked with the fertilizer so that it gets to all of the roots. And as a quick side note, if you do end up adding too much fertilizer, this will be shown in your plant with leaf tip burn. So the tips of your leaves will turn brown and crispy. And to fix this, to kind of help save your plant, simply put it under your faucet and just run the soil with water to kind of drain it and leach it out of your soil. And there you go. That is how you I'm having a hard time, guys. I just had a baby. That is how you fertilize your Dracaenas. I hope that you guys are able to see a difference, see some new growth, help your little plant friends. And if you would like, please comment or subscribe. I always appreciate you guys watching though. And yeah, just thank you for being here.